Would you like to show me your hands to show how this is sitting with you? Are you pleased with this? Oh, yeah, yeah. Would any of you like to share anything, a comment, a question?
Maria?
Yeah, Jema Shunya, I think this is the second time that I've heard you tell this story, and I'm so glad that I heard it again because I feel like it's just that so much more deeply with me this time, and I'm just like I'm in awe of that's her selflessness, that she wasn't thinking like, oh, I have to, try all these berries and, if they're sour, I have to swallow them. And I mean, it was just like she had no thought for her, body experience. She was just so focused on her bhakti and on her just knowing that, beyond this, body condition, that she was divine. And I mean, it encapsulates our this journey that we are on to be able to be of service so selflessly. And it's just like I heard it this time and again, and I was just like, wow. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing.
Remember, bhakti is the love channeled into devotion. And I think it was in the act of feeding him. She was loving him so much. I mean, I remember wanting to feed the best or teach the best. My teaching is of this caliber because of love. So when you're channeling love, you don't need any rituals, any dogma, any book, anything. It's just love. This illiterate woman, but she was in a state of union with Rama.
Yeah, like it overcame her, and that feeling. And I love too it's like this is what she was able to do. Like, we might be thinking that, we have to do something really elaborate, like you were saying, the ritual as an example, but just whatever it may be, something elaborate. And this just makes me think too of like the verse in the Gita about that, if a flower is offered in devotion, that's wonderful, and that's acceptable, and it's just like that's okay. And whatever it is that we can give with our capabilities, if we do it with love and with that correct, if we do it with an intention of devotion, like that's all that matters.
And that is why those who are motivated by Dasya Bhava, they become servants of Ishwara. And you see these people doing genuine humanitarian work. They're genuine friends to all creatures because it's love. So it's not servitude where your ego, the ego typically says, I don't like that word, servant. I don't want to be servant of Guru and Ishwara. I'll be abused. And we bring in all those, understandings. But this is where you need the cultural narratives to support the yogic understanding. Wonderful, Maria. Excellent reflection. Does anyone else want to share? Otherwise, we can close this.
Arjuna?
Jema, a few things strike me from this story. You started off this session talking about the teacher and the guru and the difference. And she was suffering, and she sought a guru, and the guru gave her the instruction to wait. And then he was about to pass on. And she, I think I anyway think waiting. I'm just waiting, but her waiting was serviceful. She she had the bhakti, the bhava to be also in service while she was waiting. It was purposeful, and I think this, to me, the instruction to wait is that the I don't know how quite to put this. I think I could say I can become impatient because it's like I have a certain time aspect of when something could happen or should happen. But here it's just wait. It's coming. And so, and then when Rama came, to me, this chewing the berries was a little, to me, like a mother tasting the food before she gives it to the baby. It was very moving, actually, very touching. To serve in that very, very intimate way, very meaningful way. So it's giving back in a certain way, feeding God, feeding Ishwara as well. So it's a really beautiful story. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you raised a very important point. Many people focus on the berries, but what's really important is she waited. And she would simply sweep the steps of the ashram. She would clear the pathway on which Rama would come in case thorns and nettles had fallen. She would wash the slippers of her guru who was no longer there. She would light a lamp. She was just this aged, bony figure doing her seva, doing her work.
Mm.
It's that weight is one thing, but beneath that weight is a trust in the Guru's word.
Yeah.
And so that trust is called Shraddha. And we have already been learning about Shraddha, and we'll continue to learn that Shraddha is what precedes Bhakti. Why a lot of the time, it takes a long time for people to learn anything experientially. One can learn words. Is because the Shraddha is not there. So the mind forgets it. But he said, yes, you will get deliverance. Rama will come. For a simple woman, that was enough. He didn't have to give a sermon on Upanishads. But she had so much Shraddha. And what means Rama will come? Means for us, symbolically, Rama came in the ashram. But for us, if we also become servants to Ishwara, we will achieve union with Ishwara. That is what it means. Ishwara will reveal itself through that act of seva to Guru and God, Guru and Ishwara. So this is not the time to criticize yourself, oh, I'm more impatient, I'm this and that. The point is there is room to cultivate Shraddha and Bhakti. And this is one flavor. She's not a scholar. She is not capable of going through a class like you. But she could do what she could do, like broom the path, light the lamp, and every day renew her enthusiasm and trust. This is the spiritual path also.
Janiji, we have one question on the chat. Jayanti asks, it's quite early where she is, so she won't be saying it, but she asks, is this strong bhakti karmic? Is it completing something started in another life?
Yeah, bhakti can be manda, like light, or madhya, middling, or tivra, intense. But bhakti can become fanaticism when it's pure religion. There is Jnana Yoga in bhakti. Do you see that? You have to understand what is Ishwara, what is your relationship with Ishwara, and you have to keep listening to these satsangs so that your bhakti enhances. But so what bhakti does is it purifies our emotions. We weep in that love. We stop feeling hatred. We stop making groups of people we like and don't like. We start developing. I have a three-pronged agenda with bhakti in my own life, which I can teach you in Shraddha to strengthen it. And it means the first one is Dayaya Sarvabhutanam, experience compassion for all beings, which includes yourself. Why? Because of bhakti. Because Ishwara is everywhere. That Jnana Yoga gives you that view. Otherwise, you only experience compassion for the Christians who go to this church and not that, right? Or to the Hindus who are in this community. That's not the way. Sarva Bhutanam, all creatures, all beings. The second point is Santushtaya Yena Kenava. I'm in the middle of a heat wave. I feel sleepy at odd times. Okay, I can practice Santosha. If Ishwara, the great intelligence, has chosen for me to be here and not put any obstacle, then I shall find my way to be in Santosha here. And to push and pull so much. And the third one is Sarvendriyo. Sarvendriyo Pashantaya. All the indriyas, all the senses become Shanta Bhava, peaceful. The speech need not be excitable and aggravated. The tongue need not be all the time lusty. It can be peaceful in between meals. It can enjoy sattvic meals. Yeah, very important. Not listen to gossip. Peaceful. Not listen to non-stop opinions. Peaceful. So these three ways to practice bhakti. I was coming to that, so there's a whole lecture waiting for you on that. But the point is, bhakti slowly strengthens. And it purifies you. Because if you start feeling compassion for the very people you are being challenged by. Example, I've mentioned right here in this platform about some toxic relatives. But that's just a placeholder. Nothing is toxic beyond a point for me. That's just me saying that needs a boundary. But after that, constant compassion. Actually, I've already made a dent for them through compassion. So it purifies our heart, takes away those poisonous, negative, self-inflicting, other-shaming, other-blaming, damaging, comparative, cahooting kind of egoic emotions. And then if we have these kind of purified samskaras, that is the mind that will travel to the next birth. In fact, it will travel to the next hour also. And then it will travel to the 2 hours later also. You're constantly moving through space and time. And so bhakti will end up purifying your consciousness, your awareness, and help you become a shining vessel of divine love. If bhakti doesn't calm you, purify you, sweeten you, melt you, where you have to put up a boundary occasionally, but you don't stay rigid because of that. You still experience compassion for the one with whom you have to put a boundary. And you pray for them, or you do what you can to help them, to counsel them even if need be. Opportunity presents itself. This is what bhakti does. I find that the Christian ideal of forgiveness, which is often misunderstood, comes from this essence of bhakti. A lot of traditions ask for us to do things which our ego feels like absolutely not. But it comes from this greater engagement with the greater being in us. Does that help you? Yeah. But if your bhakti is limited to the 1 hour that you listen to me, that's okay. Over a period of time, it will gather or it will lose force. That is why to not lose force, Shravanam, listening, Mananam, private contemplation, and then practice. I have already suggested to you establishing some altar. It could be Vedic, Hindu, or a culturally universal altar. Burning incense, sage, ghee lamp, candle, having conversations with that great power at the altar when you take walks in nature, and even after somebody has really released some vitriolic stuff on you, and after your ego has calmed down, say, "Oh, Ishwara, woof, what am I being asked to see?" Do you see that? So never inching yourself away from Ishwara. To some of you from here and to some of my other students, I'm teaching a text called Bhaja Govindam. Govindam is another word for Ishwara. Bhaja means bhakti. And these classes will be released on my YouTube channel by Acharya Shunya beginning July, first week. So you can join them. There will be about 20-30 classes. They help support, enhance your bhakti. It's a bit more technical teaching with some more Sanskrit words in it. But if you're open, I invite you to this text study. I don't invite everyone to the text study. I sometimes pay attention to students and their questions or their state of being, where they are in their life, and then invite them to a text or not to a text. It doesn't mean I'm selecting or deselecting. It just means it's what's helpful for you. And also, I like to keep the group small, but then it opens out to the public once it is going to be released on the YouTube. You're welcome to sign up for updates on the YouTube, I guess. All right. Any other question, Aparna? Otherwise, we will conclude.
We have one more share from Victoria that says, "This story is also making me think about always being ready for Ishwara. Even though Rama took decades to show up, Ishwara is always here."
Yeah. But I think even prior to Ishwara showing up in form, which is a rare occurrence, through her Dasya Bhava, she was in communion with Ishwara, communion with Guru and some version of Rama. So she was always in a state of communion, and it reached its zenith when he actually came. Jai Ma, everyone. Take care.